Hi, it's Laura at Aquamarine18. Thanks for stopping by. I have a few unboxings to share coming up, and this one is the first. I guess having a few unboxings is a really good, thing. It means there's some exciting packages sitting and waiting for me, and this one is one of the most exciting. I have had this parcel sitting on my desk for some time, but between traveling and just general busyness, hadn't gotten to open it. And it was one that I wanted to open and make an unboxing and a video for, so that I could properly say thank you to the person who sent it to me. And so I was sent this deck by Lucy. Hi, Lucy. And Lucy's channel is Lucy AquaDeLuna. I'll link her below. And this was part of my first ever trade train. So I am a member of the Blossom Book Club, which Katey Flowers runs on a Discord server. I'll link to Katey Flowers' video about this below. And so within the context of that discussion group online, some of us decided to do a trade train where everyone, puts up some decks they're willing to trade, and everyone picks one from, one of the other people's selections, kind of in an order, where at the end then the idea is in a trade train that everyone is sending out a deck. Everyone is receiving a deck, but you're not necessarily sending and receiving with the same person, right? There could be a kind of circuit of trades. So we did manage to close the loop, and everybody chose a deck who was participating, and everybody had one of theirs picked as well. So as it worked out, I picked a deck from Lucy's selection. So I have it here sent from her, and I wanted to, say thank you to Lucy for sending the deck, and to Katey Flowers for running the trade train. It was a lot of fun and very suspenseful, I have to say, because the way that the trade train works, for folks who aren't familiar, is one person, whoever's first, kind of lists their decks that are available to trade. And the way that we did it, they stay listed for 24 hours, and within that time, ideally, someone chooses one from that group of decks, and then it's the next person's turn, and they list some decks, but then as soon as someone picks one from there, you move on to the next person, and so on. And I found the structure so anxiety provoking in a way, and also exciting. The train was fun. Whenever I'd wake up and find that I'd slept through 3 people's deck offerings, I'd be a little bit oh, but it all worked out well. And I'm so happy to finally get to unbox this deck from Lucy. So I'm trying to show it. It's always hard to unpack a deck and not show anybody's addresses on the box. But I'm trying not to show anybody's addresses on the box, Lucy's or mine. So it's got some packing paper in here. It's wrapped in tissue to keep it safe. Oh, and there's a little card here. And Lucy has sent me a nice little message, expressing the hopes that I enjoy this deck. So thank you so much. The deck that I chose was one that I hadn't even been familiar with actually before this trade train thing happened. It's one that I'm not sure if had I been familiar with it, if it's one that I would have rushed and bought, but I think that the cool thing about the trade is that, some decks come available that perhaps weren't on your radar, and you can pick something that maybe, is a bit out of your wheelhouse, and, try something new, with the knowledge that you're sending one to someone else. So I think that that's great, and I'm really looking forward to this. The deck that I picked was the Manuscript of Initiations Tarot. It's by Dark Sinevere. Sorry if I've totally mispronounced your name. So, this deck, I'll just read, it has a description of the deck on the back. It says, the Manuscript of Initiations Tarot is inspired by the European and Middle Eastern manuscripts, Book of Illumination, Book of Kings, Holy Bible, Quran, Psalters, botanical and alchemical tractates, Book of Creation, bestiaries, astrological and magical manuscripts, all these sources that interfered or coherently influenced each other were taken as a basis. The image, as a representation of an archetype or an abstract system of thought, travels through time and cultures and transforms itself, absorbing local concepts. We wanted to explore all these different connections and observe the layers of hidden meaning. Manuscript art was a sophisticated, labor-intensive, symbolic game for reader and scribe. The last one often swiped existing symbols and appropriated them for new ones. So this kind of interaction continually developed through the ages and influenced the appearance of the tarot as we know it today. Thus, our goal was to reconstruct a relationship between these visual currents and open for the viewer a limitless perspective on divination and mysticism. So I really like the pattern on the box. And something that I liked about the few pictures of the deck that Lucy posted were that it actually really reminded me of a friend of mine who studies and did research on some Islamic manuscripts and miniatures, and seeing the images in the deck really reminded me of those miniatures, so I was drawn to it for that reason. So there's a little booklet that comes with it. It says that it's copyright by Dark Sinevere. Again, sorry. The artwork is by Ivan Merlika. There's the artist's name, designed in Berlin, printed in Odessa, 2019. So there is a multilingual guidebook that comes in English, Italian, Spanish, Chinese, and Russian. And there's a thank you to the translators there. There is a introduction, which I think is maybe only in English. Yeah. So there's an introduction that is in English, and then there are divinatory meanings for the different cards with upright and reversed, and they're short. They're quite short. Little descriptions there, like more than keywords, but not too lengthy. And I know from chatting online that the cardstock for this one is a bit on the thinner side. That's fine. I really liked this deck. Has a gilding. It's kind of a bronze gilding that I'm not even sure if will come across as pretty as it is in real life. So here's the back. I like that. It's subtle, you know, which is neat. And then the cards, I won't show them all. Maybe I'll just show the I'll show the majors and maybe leave it at that. And if there's any interest in seeing, you know, more of a full flip through or review after I've worked with the deck, I could do that, but I'll just show the majors for now. So the artwork, as I understand it, is brought together from different sources. You know, as the introduction mentions, all of these different historical manuscripts and texts, you know, being brought together in this artwork. And then they have the labels on the bottom there, only in English, as far as yeah, so numbers and meanings. So here we have the Fool. He's walking with some buckets here, and there's a dog in the image as well, and there's lots of things going on in the borders, which are interesting. You know, and I like the kind of the way that the figures are sitting on the frame at the top. That's neat. The Magician walking with a staff. The Magician is standing on a fish, actually, not walking. The Magician is standing on a fish, and there's an owl here. Really interesting. And they've put a lemniscate here. The High Priestess, really beautiful. Very watery with the moon there. And I like these swans at the top of the card. They're really pretty, and they're interesting because I like how the frames are smaller, and I also, you can tell that they're like pieced together from multiple sources, but you can't really tell where one ends and another begins. Like, it feels simultaneously pieced together and cohesive, if that makes sense. The Empress, very regal. The Emperor there. With a long beard. There he is. I like that Emperor a lot, actually. The Hierophant. I feel like this is a deck to get lost in. Like, there's so many little things to find. The Lovers, we have a snake or serpent going up the tree with the two figures there. There's also maybe a hare playing a flute, which is interesting. The Chariot, got a lighter horse and a darker horse there pulling a chariot. Quite clear which card that is. Justice is colorful. And Justice is holding the scales. I really like the colors there. The Hermit. Sitting with a book. And it looks like there's animals around him as well. I kind of wish that the book said more about which which manuscripts or which sources the images from each card are from, because it makes me really curious, because they're like, some of these images are really so apt to tarot. We have the wheel here with the figures around the wheel. I have reigned and I reign and I will reign, so on. Pretty familiar imagery as far as tarot goes, but I would love to know where it's from. And there's very small text, and I'm going to want to get I was about to say a microphone, because there's a microphone right there, a magnifying glass, and try to look at this little text in the corner, because I'm curious. So 8 was Justice and 11 Strength. Lion imagery. The Hanged Man. We have a man hanging here from a tree. Death. We have some animals eating some other animals, and a skeleton wearing a crown there. Temperance. She's in a bath of some sort. I'm not sure if all of these are focusing all that well. The Devil. Fairly familiar devil imagery there, with the extra face down below the abdomen there. This deck is really cool. The Tower. I really like the Tower. It's burning at the top there. The Star. The Moon. We have the crab there, like where a crayfish would be at the bottom. Really interesting. And some of the cards are really colorful, and then other ones are much more muted and neutral. The Sun. They feel very much like when you look at these kind of old, like astrological / astronomical, because astrology and astronomy are kind of the same thing for a long time. You know, they really feel like those kinds of diagrams in those kinds of texts. The World, you can see the kind of orb of the world sitting on top of the cloud here. Oh, but it's not the world, it's Judgment, and actually it looks like Judgment, with the people, you know, kind of between the sky realm and the earth. The World, we can see. How cool of an image is that for a world card? Really neat. So I want to look through all of these in lots of detail before I shuffle them, but maybe actually I will show just one suit. See, I say I'm just going to show the majors, and then I get all excited and I can't show just the majors, I have to show more. Maybe I'll just quickly show the cup suit, which is just next in the pile, just to show like it's not exactly a pip deck. There is imagery throughout, but there are also kind of pips. So for the ace, we do have a hand holding a cup, and we have 2 cups at the top, but we also have people holding the cups there. 3 of cups, you get the 3 at the bottom, and there's people, you know, happy looking people around the tree there. So there's a kind of pip imagery combo going on, which is interesting. Oh, this one, the 7 of Cups, has a person with a turtle body and another person standing on top. That's an interesting take on the 7 of Cups. Have to think about that one, for sure. The 9 of Cups, you get a little bit of a you know, reference to the kind of what at times to me looks like a bartender in the 9 of Cups. And then for the courts, we have different people holding the cup. So Page, a knight, looking very knightly with the shield, Queen, and King. Really cool. Again, totally not a deck that I'd ever seen, but one that I'm really excited to explore working with. And I really like that it's, you know, it's really ancient looking in a way, in that it's drawn on all of these ancient texts and sources, but it's also contemporary in a way, in it, like the way that the compositions are laid out, and some of the coloring, perhaps, you know, bringing these different kinds of imagery together in new and interesting ways that speak to their interconnections, as the booklet suggested. So, thank you again to Lucy for sending me the Manuscript of Initiations Tarot as part of our trade train, and thank you again to Katey Flowers for setting that up and facilitating the kind of logistical end of the trade train and getting everybody signed up. It was a lot of fun, and I hope that you know, my deck reaches you as well, since I of course sent one. And I'm really looking forward to getting to know this very interesting and unique, I think, deck, the Manuscript of Initiations Tarot. So again, yeah, thank you so much, and thanks for watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.